Attempt number 4 to record this episode of Rebuilding Hockeytown. I wish I was joking, but for some reason tonight, my PC and Elgato have decided that they can simply not coexist. But obviously, if you're watching this video, it worked itself out, which is good, because this is going to be a major episode for this series, as yet again, we're going to hit that log jam of players where we have too many players for too few spots. The issue is, though, this time out, we're dealing with an even higher caliber of player as compared to last time, where we had to deal with Evgeny Svechnikov, Giovanni Smith, and Taylor Radish. This time out, you're talking about guys like Pascale and Marsh being right there at the NHL level. It's going to be difficult. And whether or not I'm going to be able to find a way to keep the majority of our players and try to keep people happy with special teams time remains to be seen, but the first step in this video is to keep a hold of Tommy Hagman. We have to clear up that cap space, so obviously, as I've said, is going to happen for a while. Quentin Hughes and Timothy Liljegren are going to be moved out, but they're not alone. We're also going to tack on Svensson to this deal, and Elias Peterson, who just simply isn't going to pan out. We also need to tack on our own first-round pick, which doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of value. And this trade with the Rangers really sums up what this series is at this point, because yet again, and actually I don't want to get the fourth-round pick from our own fourth-round pick. I'd rather get the Rangers' fourth-round pick. Once again, we have too many good players. So we trade to get a really good prospect, and then that prospect develops, and then we have to trade away more players, and then eventually we trade away this prospect. That is the vicious cycle that I always talk about. Our target is Marcel Hummel, the 4th overall pick from the 2022 draft. He is CHL eligible, so we won't see him this season, but he's going to be one hell of an addition to this team, and there you go. Quentin Hughes, Timothy Liljegren, Svensson, Elias Peterson in the first, off to the New York Rangers. Right, now we still have a lot to do. I hit the wrong button. That's okay. I have some other players that I would like to move out. I do believe. Oh, it's tough with like McMuffin, Ackerstrom, Kelly Chow. Their value isn't tremendous. That's kind of an issue. There are, like Santa laughed there. That was kind of weird. I said issue, Anyway, there are some other guys in the medium top 9 range that are free agents that are about the same age, same overall, but I don't know if their value would be that much more, that much more than what we see with Ackerstrom and McMuffin. So I will keep that trio, actually. Change of plan there. But let's see what happens. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, the first thing he's going to do here is sign Tommy Hagman. You are wrong. What we're going to do is we're going to wait to see if he gets an offer sheet from another team. Because if I try to sign him right now for the 6.575 he is asking for, the other team that sends him a deal will give him even more money. We don't want that. We want him on as cheap of a deal as possible, especially because we can't do the 85% trick here to get that contract number down even further. So we are going to wait. We are going to look to sign prospects first. Goaltending, we're good. We have unsigned medium fringe starter guys, so we're good there. But defensively, there are a couple of decent options, and unfortunately, I'm not going to go with the Fabro-Chalowski idea. We are going to give this guy a chance here, Toby Sawatsky, low top 4. Normally, you guys know I don't like going after low potential players, but we'll give him a chance, and worst comes to worst, we get rid of him. There are some other guys here as well. We're going to go after Ralston, 21 years old, a 76 overall. A couple of other decent players that we are going to have to pass up on. Evan Dodge will not be one of them. Is his name Evan? It is Evan. Okay, I wasn't quite sure. Again, I've had to do this a couple of times, so I have a pretty good idea of who I want on this team and how I want to build this team. So thankfully, this episode should go a bit more quickly than I originally planned, or than it would have the first time I tried to record this. But like I said, there's not a hell of a lot I can do if my Elgato just decides, hey, I don't want to work tonight. So we're trying to move forward, though. We're trying to get this video done so that we can set up the next season. We're vastly approaching episode 50, by the way, which is crazy, but I guess having a lot of playoff videos can help contribute to that. Yes, we also are going after a low top 6 forward. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. Obviously, it's not Gugnot. I'm just going to call him Pascal. There's going to be some French fucking spin on that, and no thank you. I don't need to embarrass myself any further. As, yeah, I'm pretty infamous for just not being able to pronunciate French names properly whatsoever. But that's okay. That is okay. Anyway, as far as players here, Acton's actually pretty good. 72 overall at 19 years old. I don't recall actually signing him. Levo's pretty good too. There are some guys here actually that I didn't even notice how good they are, which is a bit of a shame. Brodziak was Tokarski. 71 overall at 19 years old. He is our first target. I might actually have to go and trade those guys to bring in somebody else. Kelly is another signing. 80 overall at 20 years old, which is pretty crazy. We have AJ Black, 79 overall at 21 years old. And that is that. But again, well, I was going to say they're about equal. I mean, they're equal in potential, pretty much in age and overall as some of the other players that we already have signed. You know, I'm talking guys like Sedin, Garnett, who's actually, you know, a little bit lower in overall. Quite a few decent options, but I think for the most part, yeah, we're good to go. I mean, Levo really wouldn't be a bad signing. 76 overall at 20 years old. I don't recall seeing him on the list, actually, so it might be Dallas just might have let go of him this time out. Acton also isn't a terrible player. Let me double check here. You know what? I think I'm going to go after those two because that's pretty good. Acton is 72 at 19 years old. I am going to have to get rid of someone, and he does have offers from Boston and Vancouver, and we'll send an offer to Levo as well. And I think that pretty much covers it. Yes, it does. Okay. So let me go and actually trade away some of those guys I was talking about. Kelly Chow is probably going to be one of them. We'll go to forwards. We'll sort by the lowest trade value. So, see what I mean? Like 70 overall, stuff like that. Burkhoff, 19 years old, 68 overall, but he's medium top 6. His trade value isn't great, but he's staying. Kelly Chow is going to stay, but I think Ackerstrom and McMuffin are on their way out. Both 20 years old. Yeah, let's get rid of them. Let's clear out a little bit of extra space. And let's see, is there a rebuilder in the market? Yes, there is. Arizona. Let's see what we can get from the Yotes here for these two players. Can we get a second-round pick? If that goes through, I'm all right with it. And indeed it did. So there you go. Dale McMuffin, I am sorry. Your name is still hilarious, but you're out. So let's move forward. We'll see who accepted our offers. And then, of course, we'll also wait to find out the fate of Tommy Hagman. We're keeping him, absolutely. But overall, you know, we're just going to try the offer sheet method. Toby Sawatsky. Oh, yeah, it's... Oh, your max offer for somebody in my age group. Yes, it was almost too low. I hate that. That's so stupid. I offered him the max entry-level deal to all of them, and they're all complaining about the cap hit. The good thing is every single one of them signed. So that is good. And let's sim the next season. We'll wait to see. Now, there is a chance. Like I said, 4th time I've tried to sim this. 2 times out of the first 3 attempts, nobody actually tried to sign Hagman to an offer sheet. The first time they did, it was Ottawa, and they offered him like $8 million, say like $8.7 million a season or something like that, and all we would have gotten in compensation is a 1st, 2nd, and a 3rd round pick. Now, we started simming on July 7th, and as we stop it here, what will the date be? We'll try to sign Hagman ourselves now that it's taken so long. Speaking of taking a long time, it's August 13th. Right. Let's see here. We got $9.6 million bucks, and nobody sent him a deal. It says team's interested. There we go. Let's send Tommy a deal, get him signed up, and we will be good to go. Again, the good thing is I pretty much have some trades planned out. Yes, I have a deal with Tommy Hagman. There you go. Beautiful. I have a plan for Tommy Hagman, and he signed pretty much the very next day. Now, the one thing I am concerned about here is if certain players don't progress as much as they would have in a previous attempt of recording this. That's something I've noticed. There have been an occasion. Most of the time, it's only like a 1 overall point difference. The other thing I'm really concerned about, of course, is the morale, because we are going to have to trade away quite a few decent players. But I am going to try and be a little bit crafty about this, and we are going to try to hold on to players that will be playing well below their expected role. So this will be interesting to see if we can pull it off. But the plan, as I will show you in a minute, actually, yeah, here, let me get the team set up as I have decided it should be, and I'll let you guys know who is staying and who is going, although you'll pretty much figure it out by who I send down to the minors, I'm sure. But we also need to call up Donaghy. And we... Actually, wait a minute. What did I mess up here? What did I mess up here? What forward am I missing? Oh, wait, never mind. Okay, I know I did it wrong. We'll call up Svechnikov for the moment. It's fine. I know what I did wrong. It's because the guy who we have on the fourth line hasn't been acquired yet. But this is what the team is shaping up to be, with the exception of Andrei Svechnikov. We're going to acquire a new fourth-line center. I don't know if I can pull this off, because Taylor Hall, first-line guy. Hischier, first-line guy. Tippett, first-line guy. Tommy Hagman's a second-line guy. That's fine. Pascale, first-line guy. Vic Marsh, first-line guy. Can we make this work and avoid people complaining about their ice time by properly utilizing special teams? If not, as far as the top line goes, if Pascale and Marsh are both complaining, we move Hischier to the left, we call up Pascale, Hall, and Marsh both get traded, because I'm keeping Tippett and I'm keeping Nico Hischier. So I have a contingency plan in place in case people decide that they don't like how I'm running the team. Not you guys, but I mean the players in game themselves. The third line, you have Joel David with Benoit Garou and Cole Lind, which, I mean, you look at the defensive categories, that's the plan. They are a shutdown line, and then the fourth line will be Donaghy, a new center, and Robert Thomas. So unfortunately, Dalin Svechnikov and Adam Ruzicka are on their way out. Defensively, oh my god, I don't know if I can make this work, but we're going to try. Hronek and Ekblad still locked in as the top two. You have Haig and Dalin still on the second pairing. The problem is both Helmerson and Rolu are top four defensemen. Can we keep them happy? If not, they pretty much get traded, because they both have lesser value than even Haig or Dalin. So, as good as they may end up being, if they don't like being on the third pairing with power play or penalty kill time, they're on their way out. We'll see if we can make it work. That's a big if as to whether or not that works. And then goaltending, it's tough because Ian Scott did just win us the cup, but we may have the assets to go out and acquire one of the better goalies in the game. And the short list is John Gibson, Ilya Samsonov, Carter Hart, Thatcher Demko, or even Tristan Jarry. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to pull it off, depending on what I have to give up to get the two players that I have in mind, but I'm just saying, it's going to be interesting. So let's get to it. Let's get to these trades. Unfortunately, I don't have the details of the trades worked out 100%, so it might take a little bit of tinkering, but the first team we need to talk to, the Boston Bruins, and we're going to talk to them about Marcel Desbiens. He would be our fourth line center, and obviously would be pushing for a much better spot sooner rather than later, but we need to try and work out fair value, and that is easier said than done when talking about this team. And the most valuable guy is Svechnikov, so we'll try to figure that out. A 1-for-1 won't go through. We are going to have to give up not necessarily a decent amount. At least for us, it's not going to be a big deal. We have 3 first-round picks, 4 second-round picks that we are going to try to use to our advantage here. But he'll be an interesting pickup, and it'll be interesting to see what he can do on the fourth line. But let's see. How about the slightly more valuable second-round pick? We're just trying to get it to the point where they say it's close, and there we go. And I think it's going to take the 4th, and probably we'll try a 5th next season. There we go. That will go through. Andrei Svechnikov off to Boston, along with picks for Marcel Desbiens. And he'll spend this season on the 4th line. The other guy that we're going to look to get, because it pretty much equals out with fair value, you might already know who I'm going after. That man would be René Lecavalier. Again, CHL eligible player, so we wouldn't see him for a while, but we got to try and work out fair value. It's the vicious cycle. That's I need to trademark that term because that's how most of my series end up going down. Now, unfortunately, we can only do a 1-for-1 with Dahlin and picks, which kind of sucks, but we'll make it work. We will find a way to make it work. We might have to give up first-round picks, which would suck, but you got to do what you got to do. And indeed, that looks like it's going to be the case. Let's give up our second-round pick next year before we start talking about first-round picks. Yeah, it's not going to work out. All right, let's go offer a first-round pick, shall we? How about Calgary's first? That's not going to be enough. No, it is not. How about our second-round pick? Still no. Again, I don't have much value for our picks, so our second-round pick I'd have no problem giving away. How about our second-round pick next year as well? What do you say to that? The value is still too far off. All right, here comes another first-round pick. Let's offer them the Devils first, and our second, still no, and this is what I was talking about. As far as tinkering with the details, that still didn't go through either. Wow. We might honestly have to give up 2 first-round picks to make this happen, which I'm not 100% against, to be honest. It wouldn't be the worst situation in the world. How about we switch that to Arizona's second? Will that go through? No, it won't. All right. Well, instead we'll just tack our second-round pick back on there. Will that go through? Yes, it did. Wow, I'm surprised. I mean, we gave up a lot. Jonathan Dahlin, a first and 3 second-round picks for René Lecavalier. The Devils get what they need, a lot of help, and we get another decent prospect that will eventually become a part of this team. Now, we still need to move out Ruzicka and Emlyn as well, who unfortunately is the victim here. I mean, he really should be on the third pairing this year. Not the greatest trade value, definitely good enough to be a third pairing defenseman. But like I said, I want to see if we can hold on to both Helmerson and Rolu. So he is the odd man out. And let's see, Ruzicka as well. We're going to look to move out both of these guys. Is there a team that we can send them to that can actually afford either of them? Now, I know Florida, cap-wise, it was looking a bit rough, but sometimes they can still get it to work. And trade value-wise, it's actually pretty crazy. You know what? Let's go for a blockbuster. Let's go for a blockbuster. This year is all about how much can I abuse the system. How much can I get away with playing certain players out of their proper role. We're going to try to acquire Thatcher Demko, and we're going to see if we can balance him and Ian Scott on the same team. Now, I don't know if I can acquire Demko without using someone like Sylvan. We'll find out, though. We will find out. We are going to tack on a coin, and we need someone else with a one-year deal. That would be Petrie. Tack these two guys onto the deal. There's no way that'll go through straight up. Figured I'd check for the hell of it, though. Why not? And then, as far as picks go, how about the Calgary first? What do you say to that? That's still a no. Do we have a second-round pick next year? No, we don't. So how about the other Calgary first? No. All right, so let's take out that Calgary first this year. We'll tack on the Ranger pick. Will that go through? No, it won't. And that is going to cause me to go through a change of plans here, but that's okay. We'll keep Billy Husso. We'll look to get rid of Emlyn and Ruzicka in separate deals. We'll go talk to Winnipeg about Yemelin or Emlyn. Will the first round pick go through? No, it won't, but we are going to try to push this deal through using extra picks. Let's see if we can get that to work out. Another fourth and another sixth. Will that work? No, it won't. We're going to have to go a bit further down the line. So let's go fourth, third, fourth. How does that sound? That went through. Good. So Emlyn off to Winnipeg for a first rounder, which is pretty good. We'll look to move Ruzicka, and of course we get that extra first to help negotiate with Vancouver. Ruzicka, we should get a decent return on if we can just find the right team to send him to, which is looking like it's going to be easier said than done. Minnesota, I don't think this will work. I think despite it showing up as 48, yeah, it won't work. Who else here? Philly? Do they have? Can they make the cap space? No, they cannot. Winnipeg, we already just had a deal with. Buffalo, I really don't want to send him within the division. Calgary, of course, then again, we know the Flames don't have their picks. So, Chicago, no. I don't want to take back a contract. I can if I have to. But I prefer not to. I'd prefer to be able to sign one of our unsigned players. We don't have too many of them. Dallas, though, might be the savior here. Let's figure this out. He might be my own personal savior here in this instance. Will that go through? No, it won't. We'll take off a third. We'll take off another third. We'll take off a second and then reapply the 2/3. We'll see what happens there. Just a bit low. All right, well, it's close, though. That's what's important. How about a 6th and a 7th this year? Will that go through? No, it won't. We'll keep trying to use these lower picks. We have no picks over the next 2 years, but who needs them? We're in cup-winning mode, damn it. That went through. Ruzicka off to Dallas. And now, by the way, look at the cap space. It's lovely, isn't it? With the team we have, the cap space is going to be crazy. Thatcher Demko, though, costs $9 million a season. So that space is going to evaporate just a little bit. But let's see. This could all backfire too. This could all blow up in my face if players decide that they're just not happy in their assigned roles as opposed to the role the game gives them. So this could backfire, but it's worth the risk because of how ridiculous this team would be. Now, most of these first-round picks, if not all of these first-round picks, are going to have to be used to get this deal done. But I'm willing to do it. I am willing to do it. 4 first-round picks for Thatcher Demko, and we're not using the most valuable ones. All right, let's try this again. We'll use the Winnipeg pick. It still might not go through using Ville Husso. There's a strong chance of that, despite using Ville Husso, that this won't work. Will that go through? No, it won't, and apparently we're still not even close. So let's use the 2 most valuable picks. And all 4 first-round picks this year. Will that work? No, it won't. Damn. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't know if we're going to be able to get this to work. I mean, I could throw Ian Scott into the deal. Venkateshan isn't going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Now, I could use Sylvan to get this deal done, but now that I traded Emelin, I don't really want to. What else could we do here to make this work? We really don't have another option. So what if we just do the 5 most valuable picks on my team? And 1 2025 pick. 5 first-round picks for Thatcher Demko. Still no. That's how crazy it is, man. All right. So to get that done, we would need Sylvan. So I think the new backup plan is if Sylvan starts to complain or Helmeson start to complain about ice time, we use them to go and get Thatcher Demko. So for now, I think the goaltending will stay the same. I'm a little bit worried as it is with Ville Husso because he is listed as a starter. So we'll see if he's all right with the backup time. We'll figure it out. He didn't have an issue with it last year. That's, of course, because we were winning. But let's see. All right, goaltending, we're actually still not done. We need to sign Venkateshan to a deal. Of course, he's an American, so that'll work out. And then goaltending would also sign Antonovich to a deal. I'm going to look to move, and I know Antonovich is only a 57, actually, so I could just go out and sign a random free agent. I could keep Luukkonen, actually. You know, I might just sign Venkateshan, set him up as the starter, and if Grand Rapids struggle, of course we want them in the playoffs, I could just make Luukkonen the starter. So because of that, Dan Streit is going to be traded. And that would still leave us with how many goalies? Okay, so that'd still leave us with 4 for the moment, so that's good. Let's see where we can send Mr. Streit. Can we send him to Winnipeg as well? Maybe. Second round pick? No, but we're going to try to push that trade through. How about Dallas's third round pick in 2024? Thank you very much. All right. So let's go sign Van Kadishin, and this team is pretty much good to go. As crazy as it is. I do need to double check the AHL just to make sure that everything is good to go. But actually, Van Kadishin might just be the backup goalie this year. He'll still get some decent ice time because of the auto-rotate goalie. But, yeah, we might just have him as the backup. But we do need to sign him one way or another. So, there we go. He's on board. That will leave us with 5 goaltenders. Now, in the system for defensemen, what do we have unsigned? Just McCann, who is Canadian. Is he not? Yes, he is. And Sofilas, who is the enforcer? Yes, he is. Not a very good enforcer. Not very much in terms of aggressiveness. I don't know if we need him. And we actually don't have any forwards. So I'll keep that in mind, that we only have 1 unsigned defenseman. So let's get this team set up. And I may just sim the first month of the season because we're still under half an hour, which is crazy. I guess that is the one benefit to having to do this video over and over, is I had a plan in place. So we are good to go. Very, very nice. Actually, here, just let me set up the offensive lines once again. So we would need, let's see, so we'd have that as our, hold on, let me write down a little depth chart here, just so that I can remember who is where. Of course, with a new team, new names, easy to be confused. I just don't want to go back and forth to the menus 18 times as I try to remember who is lined up where. We're almost through this. I just wrote down Cole Lynn's name. We're looking good. Desbiens and Thomas. And of course, defensively, what a ridiculous team, though. Oh my God. What a ridiculous team, and you watch, we won't make the playoffs. Number 1 overall pick, here we come, right? Can't wait for that. And we got Helmerson and Sylvan. Okay, we're good. Sorry about that, but had to do it. We got to make sure the power play line is set up the way we want it. So we do have Tippett Marsh, Hischier, Pascale, Hall, and then we don't want Lind. We want Hagman. So let's get Hagman here. Cole Lind will have penalty kill time, of course. Not Taylor Hall. I hit the wrong H. Let's go back and hit Hagman. Hooray. Then defensively, we're going to take Ekblad off of the power play. Oh, actually, do we want to? Helmerson isn't terrible offensively. Sylvan isn't either. Let's see, so Helmerson already has the ice time. Dahlin, only 81 offensive awareness. You know, we'll see. Man, do I want Ekblad there? I mean, he does have a really good shot. And this is the problem with trying to balance it, is we do have to kind of sacrifice the power play unit, at least a little bit, to try and make some people happy. So, again, Cole Lind might be a little bit disappointed by only being on the PK unit, but that is what it is. It does have Helmerson in there over Sylvan. So you know what? We'll try it. We will try it. Let's put Hronik on the top pairing. We'll have Dahlin with Helmerson. We'll see how that goes. Hischier, Tippett, Pascale, Hall. All right, that's looking good. Penalty kill, Guru, Lind, Donaghy, and David. Which is looking pretty good, actually. We just need to give, and actually we'll change out the entire second pairing. Let's put Sylvan there, give him PK time. And we'll put Helmerson in there as well. So it's a little bit of a risk right now not having Sylvan as a forward, or as a forward on the power play line. Not quite a risk having him as a forward. He wouldn't be a forward. But we'll monitor the situation somewhat closely just to try and make sure that we don't really shoot ourselves in the foot here. We don't need anyone's morale to plummet and to make it any more difficult than it needs to be. But we are good to go. We'll see what Ian Scott can do. Came very close to having him be the backup this year. As far as forwards go, defensemen, we have 3 scratched defensemen, which is okay, not ideal. 2 scratched forwards. One's a medium top 6, though, so we are going to have to change that. Voice crack, kind of. It's hot in here. Water. You know, the best thing about New England weather, and I've talked about it before, today it was, and I know I have a lot of, actually, Canadian viewers are the, as far as my viewership, I have more Canadian viewers than Americans, so USA, step your game up. But the best thing about New England weather here is today, and I don't know what it would be Celsius, I'm saying Fahrenheit, it was 30, not 30, it was 50 degrees today. It's going to be 92 in the morning. That sums up New England weather pretty damn well. So it's already pretty damn hot. It's late at night again, as it typically is where I tend to record. But let's see. So Ralston, Eklund can stay scratched. Sawatsky can stay scratched. So we got to look at potentially getting Ralston into the lineup. Who would we take out for him? Medium 4, medium 6, medium 6, medium 6. Oh, medium elite. Actually, it's looking like he's shit out of luck. We're going to have Wisniewski, who I honestly thought would make a push for the NHL level. It just didn't happen. We'll have Perron with Dmitriev and Dodge with Nurmi. Looking good. Actually, do we have 3 righties? We actually do have 3 righties, so never mind. Let's do that. We'll have DeRozier on the second pairing, at least. And that's looking good. So, unfortunately, for Ralston, he won't get into the lineup, but it is what it is. And then Sawatsky's a 69 overall. Anyway, nice. Beaulieu needs to be put into the lineup. Let's take a look at potentials here and figure this out. Medium 9. Let's put all the medium 9s at the bottom. And we'll get the best players available that we can into the top 6. So let's see, we got medium 9. So we'll have Kelly Chow up there as well. So the best medium 9s, a high medium 9 in the top 6. And actually Lilia. Never mind. Need to get Lilia up there. Man, my voice is giving out. I apologize. Alright, screw the water. We're going for the Arnold Palmer. Oh my god. Made my day. They mentioned me on Twitter. Not sponsored. Or they replied to me on Twitter with my not endless pandering. That's the only time I've ever pandered. And it was complete sarcasm. But damn it, it made my day. That dream's alive. We will one day be sponsored by Arizona and their amazing drinks, particularly Arnold Palmer half and half. Not sponsored. Just saying. Just saying. So what do we want to do here? Take Marshall Stewart out? Or do we go for Kelly Chow? That's the question. God, I don't know. Do we take Stewart out? Who's high meat? No, we got to take Kelly Chow out of there. Okay. So then from there, medium top 9, medium top 9. Tuukka Jokinen, he's just an AHL guy. As in, not signed by us. I didn't even notice. So we'll take him out of there for Beaulieu. And we are good to go. So let's see. We'll also take Kelly out of there. And let's figure this out. We'll just go best overall wise. Who can actually play center? Kelly Chow can. And then down on the 4th line, we'll go with this guy, even though he's slightly worse. He's better defensively. And on the top line, do we have any righties? Yes, we do. 2 righties in Lilia and Selleck. So 2 71s, 72 in Marshall Stewart. So there we go. Team is pretty much set. It's looking all right. You know, it will be better once certain players progress. We just need to get the goaltending figured out. Luukkonen will be the starter. We'll go with Van Katashan as the backup. Guys, this team, this franchise is absurd. It's just a matter of whether or not people will just put the ego aside and do what we have, do what they have to do to end up with success. Now, as far as the letters, I normally don't pay too much attention to it because it's kind of just a pointless reason to screw with the morale even more. I mean, if I were to hand out letters, it would probably be... Haig as captain, and then Hischier and Lind as the alternates, maybe Ekblad. Tough to say. I don't know. Like, typically, I mean, if that's just how I was naming it, typically if I actually cared, I'd look at the morale and see who's a leader, which, go figure, Haig, Ekblad, and Hall are all listed as leaders. Now, what, screw it, let's do it. All I have to do is just take an A off of Hronik and give it to Haig. So Hronik, I am sorry, I apologize, you're going to be mad at me, but we're going to give the letter to Nicholas Haig. He deserves it. He's my favorite. He really is. Oh, let's take a look. And I really hope the Bruins end up with him in the draft, not just because of the game, but, I mean, 6'5", 211. Could you imagine Haig and Brandon Carlo as the Bruins' defensive stalwarts? Granted, the league is moving more towards, the offensive defenseman kind of deal. You look at the contract Shane Gostisbehere just got. You look at what Erik Karlsson's doing, although granted, Erik Karlsson's a generational talent. But let's see here. Tokarski, Acton could both use letters in the AHL. We'll pay attention to this for the moment. Normally, I don't. We'll still sim the first month of the season as well. It won't take too long. Unless there's an injury. So it was, oh my god, I've just completely blanked. It was Tokarski and Acton. That's who it was. So Dodge, I'm sorry, but you just got here. Joey Wisniewski can keep his letter. It's fine by me. He's a veteran of this team at this point. And we're on a team where there really aren't too many veterans because of the constant amount of turnover. But Acton and Tokarski, who both just got here, happen to be presents in the locker rooms. So we'll keep them there, or a presence in the locker room individually. That would be the better English. But we're good. We are good. It's just now a matter of time. And a matter of whether or not people will just get on board with what we are doing here in Hockey Town. But needless to say, I'd call the franchise rebuilt. We've won 2 cups, and this team is absurd. So let me assign the scouting really quick. We'll sim the first month of the season. And let me see. Yeah, we'll go 5 weeks. Why not? 5 weeks for WHL forwards. Let's do this. Let's go. 98, 99, and 90 for the ratings, which is pretty ridiculous. I'm honestly surprised we didn't hit 100 in both categories. Genuinely surprised. That could happen, though, once players start to bounce back from the morale issues that we're suffering from because of the players that I traded. Although, go figure, we have lost the first 3 preseason games that we've played. So, could you imagine if this team ends up being awful? Like, we are the Golden State Warriors of this league at the moment, with the amount of superstars that we have. And we only managed to win 2 preseason games at the most. It depends on the Ottawa results. And that was a loss. We won 1 preseason game. 1-5-1 in the preseason. But that's preseason. Doesn't really matter, does it? It's all about what happens in the regular season and what happens in the playoffs following that. I cannot wait to see how we're going to do this season. This team, you would think this team above some of the others that have had. Now, granted, we don't have like that 97 overall player that we've seen in some of my other series. Of course, the infamous Vancouver series is one that always comes to mind for that really ridiculous high-end talent. But it's not like our 90 overall, 91 overall guys are slouches. You look at their stats, it's absurd. To end up being a 97 overall, typically what holds some players back is the defensive or the physical category. But at 91 overall, you look at Owen Tippett, who has 99 offensive awareness. It's not really too big of a deal. But an interesting start to this season. We won our first 5 games. We lost 2 straight to Philly and Tampa before bouncing back. Did my game just freeze? Nope, my controller died. I'm going to guess that the batteries died. Allow me to switch those out. That is a rarity in any one of my videos. Typically, I check my batteries before I start to play, but obviously with notifications off and everything, I just didn't notice. There we go, we're good. I was, after, again, this is the 4th attempt, I was deathly afraid there that we were going to have further issues, and I'd have to potentially re-record this. But there you go. 8-2 start to the regular season after struggling in the preseason. The Grand Rapids Griffins are 3-4 in the season so far. But a good start to the campaign for the Red Wings. 99, 99, and 90 for the ratings. And again, depending on what happens morale-wise, we might move a defenseman to try and get Thatcher Demko. We'll take a look at that top line. My God, I know some people are still pissed I got Taylor Hall, and there are going to be some people who are still like, why the hell didn't you trade Taylor Hall this episode? He has 10 points in 8 games, or 10 points in 10 games, I should say. Shooting 12%. Hischier with 9 points. Owen Tippett, my God, he is one of my favorite players I think we've ever used. He's not quite Essa Hall level, again, from the Vancouver series, but he's pretty damn close at this point. What a beast. Second line, Tommy Hagman has 5 points. He's a minus player. He hasn't complained about ice time, but he's disappointed in his performances. Another factor is player types, of course. Now, he only has 79 offensive awareness, which is a little bit concerning. But he is a very well-rounded player. You could definitely argue playmaker with his passing ability. You could argue sniper. He has a very accurate shot, just not the hardest wrist shot. Decent skater, decent physically. I mean, you could argue two-way, playmaker, sniper, power forward for Tommy Hagman. At center, Pascale, I mean, you could, again, here, I'll show you guys the stats. You know what? Fuck it, let's talk about it. Taylor Hall as a sniper, obviously fine. Hischier as a playmaker, obviously fine. Tippett as a sniper, obviously fine. Tommy Hagman could be any number of builds. Pascale, again, playmaker is probably his best build. You could argue sniper. Maybe even a two-way. That defensive category isn't tremendous, but it's pretty good. He has 5 points this postseason. Has not yet complained about ice time, just about his recent performances. But still, 5 points from a second-line guy isn't terrible so far. Same story for Vic Marsh. He's also a -3. Still on his entry-level deal, which is incredibly helpful. Did complain about his ice time at least once, back on October 19th. We will have to monitor that. Again, for him, it's either he's here or he's not. If Pascale complained, well, then again, I mean, I could put Marsh on the top line left wing, right? I easily could. But that's not ideal. It really isn't. And then the fact is, if Pascale were to start complaining, I'd end up trading Marsh anyway. Absolutely. So, interesting. We'll keep an eye on Vic Marsh in particular. Joel David should be good to go. He only has 1 point, but he is a +3 still on his entry-level deal. Nothing morale-wise as of late. Benoit Garou, 4 points. He is a +5. Nothing about ice time, as you would expect. He is a third-line guy. Cole Lynn, though, it could be interesting. He has 6 points. He's a +4. Hasn't complained about ice time. Thank you, Mr. Lind. You were so kind last year, and you're very kind so far this year. We have Kevin Donaghy, 3 goals so far this season. Happy with his ice time as well, which is good. He's listed as a depth guy. The concern is much like last season, where I leave, I come back to record a few days from now or whatever, he could easily jump to a third-line guy. That's just how the game works. So that could cause issues. Same story with Marcel Desbiens. Only 1 goal thus far, but not complaining about his ice time. Is actually happy about it. And then Robert Thomas, who regressed to a depth forward, which is a bit strange. He has 2 points. He is a -1. So good stuff from the team so far. The only guy we have to worry about seems to be Vic Marsh at the moment. Defensively, Philip Hronik, 7 points. He is a +11. And again, you know, I mean, you look at the morale, it's a bit concerning. You have Aaron Ekblad, 4 points, a +11. Nicholas Haig with 1 point thus far. Dahlin with 5. He's a -2. Now the moment of truth. Helmerson, who again, and actually here, let's go back up to the top really quick. Hronik, obviously good as an offensive defenseman. You could argue a two-way just because his passing isn't crazy, but offensive defenseman or two-way. Aaron Ekblad, you could argue offensive, two-way, or defensive D-man. Nicholas Haig, very obviously a defensive D-man and probably the best one in the league. Rasmus Dahlin, you could easily argue offensive, two-way, or defensive. Helmerson, you could argue two-way or defensive defenseman, I'd say. Maybe even offensive defenseman. Let's take a look, though. He hasn't complained about ice time. That's good. That brings us to Sylvan, who, again, offensive two-way. Either one would work for him. He has 1 goal thus far and has not complained about ice time. So the only guy who's complained so far is Vic Marsh. Yes, we're only 10 games into the season, but so far so good. And Ian Scott, who needs Thatcher Demko? .952 save percentage for Ian Scott. Ville Husso has actually played 4 games already. That's a pretty crazy percentage there. 6 games for Scott, 4 for Husso, but Husso at .915 isn't terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. I want to quickly take a look at the AHL. Haven't seen too much crazy progression, but, you know, the team's doing all right so far. Defensively, I think DeRozier's already gone up a point. The big question was goaltending. Van Katterson, 2 games so far, a .750 save percentage with an 8.03 goals against average. Oh, Harold, you poor man. 2 goals, 67 minutes between the two. 9 goals allowed on 36 shots. I mean, you could play goal for the Nashville Predators. Hey! Sorry, Preds fans. We got jokes. Luukkonen's doing all right, though. Guys, that'll do it for this one. I mean, I can't say anything more about how this episode went, about the shape that the team is in. We'll just have to see what the next episode brings. Will there be a curveball of a certain player jumping up in player role, and could that cause issues? Will Vic Marsh continue to complain about his ice time? We'll find out in the next episode. So until then, if you did enjoy this one, of course, make sure to hit that like button to help support the channel and support me. It is greatly appreciated. I should note as well, subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others. You can also follow me on Twitter at Tugi24 and join the notification squad to make sure that you never miss a video. I recommend that because you never know when the YouTube, you never know when a YouTube issue is going to pop up. Again, as of late, I haven't seen too many YouTubers complain, oh, people are saying videos didn't show up on their feed. But you never know when that's just going to randomly start happening again, and you wouldn't want to miss another video. So do what you got to do to keep following, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Rebuilding Hockey Town. Oh, by the way, I mentioned on Twitter that people are fucking stupid, which I'll say that often, but in general, the EA press conference at E3, every year do people have to complain, oh my god, they focus on sports so much. Just get to Star Wars. Why watch the conference if all you want to see is Star Wars? Obviously, they're going to show it last. Just wait until the damn conference is over and IGN puts out videos within 0.5 seconds of the conference ending. God damn, people. You're stupid. Thank you guys for watching.